Well, hello then, I do hope you're all well. Now, yes, I said this might be my last video, might be the last one for a day or two, because I've got a couple of places to go. But, well, Monday, change of plan, I realised that I didn't need to go, so I thought, well, while I'm here Monday, I thought, might as well go through what happened in Parliament after the Sue Gray report, or whatever was printed in it was brought up, and to my surprise I thought it was more damning than what I thought it would be. And anyway, after the report came out, he waltzes into Parliament and puts on his most contrite face to apologise, as if to think that'll make everything all right. And then he just went off on a tangent about nonsense about this and that. Well, anyway, not long after listening to it, I came across this rather interesting article on Sky, because sometimes it's always interesting to get a different perspective. But anyway, we'll just go through it. Anyway, the Downing Street lockdown gatherings represented a serious failure and are difficult to justify, Sue Gray has said in a parrot back report following her investigation. A limited version of the Cabinet Office inquiry by top civil servant Miss Gray has been made public after weeks of delay. The 12-page document, only 12 pages, which was pared back due to the Met Police investigating some of the gatherings, is likely to prove pivotal in determining the Prime Minister's future as he faces anger over the Partygate scandal. Our Boris Johnson apologised to the Commons and promised a shake-up of number 10, insisting, "I get it and I will fix it." In other words, I'm going to throw people under the bus, like he's always done all his life when he's been caught with his hand in the cookie jar and cookie crumbs all over his shirt. But anyway, it goes on with the key points in the version of the Gray report include 16 events in 2020 and 2021 were investigated. The Met Police are looking into 12 of them. Some of the behaviour surrounding these gatherings is difficult to justify. A number of the gatherings should not have been allowed to take place or to develop in the way that they did. At least some gatherings represented a serious failure to observe not just the high standards expected of government, but also of the standards expected of the entire population. These were failures of leadership and judgment by different parts of Number 10 and the Cabinet Office. The garden at Number 10 Downing Street was also used for gatherings without clear authorisation or oversight. This was not appropriate. Some staff wanted to raise concerns about behaviour they were witnessed at work, but at times felt unable to do so. Steps must be taken to ensure every government department has a clear and robust policy over excessive alcohol consumption in the workplace, which is not appropriate, well, obviously. Now, when all this goes, what I like about this was you got a little bit of an analysis from Beth Rigby, who basically said, a slight reprieve for Boris Johnson, but Sue Gray clear full report needs to be published. And I think I don't think even his backbenchers are going to be happy if it isn't published. So Sue Gray's conclusion is clear in its criticism, and there is no getting away from it being bad for Boris Johnson, but it is also partial. As far as opposition sources are concerned, the key line is on page 5, where Sue Gray says it has not been possible to provide a meaningful report due to the limitations created by the ongoing Met Police investigation. So when Sue Gray references the fact she has gathered significant evidence from 70 witnesses and concludes serious failures having been made, it puts the Prime Minister under huge pressure to commit to releasing the full document when the police investigation concludes. And yes, a number of backbenchers did ask, and he seemed to skirt around it, so I get the feeling he's going to try and not publish it. But anyway, the Prime Minister is now going to have to go to Parliament and explain all of this away. The partial nature of the report may have given him a slight reprieve, but Sue Gray has made clear there is a full picture waiting to be revealed to the British people. The The opposition and some of his own party will want a commitment that will happen. And in Parliament, they did ask on a number of occasions, and he seemed rather hesitant to say yes or no. So you get the feeling he's going to try and not publish it. But anyway, no meaningful report at this stage. Last week, the Met Police launched a criminal investigation into potential breaches of COVID regulations in 10 Downing Street and Whitehall and requested Miss Gray's report, making only minimal references to events it is looking at. The gatherings being looked into by the Met include an event that happened at the Downing Street flat on the 13th of November 2020. The night aides Dominic Cummings and Lee Kane left their number 10 roles, and an event to mark the PM's birthday, in which he was ambushed by a cake on the 19th of June 2020. The Met Police revealed on Monday afternoon that officers are reviewing at pace, whatever that means, more than 300 images and 500 pages of information handed over by the Cabinet Office on Friday. They said officers are now confirming which individuals need to be contacted for their account and will be issued with a fixed penalty notice if police deem them to have breached COVID regulations, which they can dispute in a magistrate's court. Ms Gray said the police investigation means she's extremely limited in what I can say, so it is not possible to provide a meaningful report setting out all she has discovered. She said she has opted not to publish factual accounts of events not under investigation by police because to do so would damage her overall findings. A number 10 spokesman said that the Met's investigation is complete. The PM will ask Miss Gray to update her work in light of what is found, and that will be published. And then we came to addressing in the Commons. Mr Johnson said, I want to say I'm sorry, and I am sorry for the things we simply didn't get right, and also sorry for the way this matter has been handled. It's no use saying this or that was within the rules, and it's no use saying people were working hard. This pandemic was hard for everyone. Yes, and quite clearly, you partied so hard, like Nadine Dorries. What a clown she were after that. I'm sure you saw all the interviews where she made an absolute clown of herself. But anyway, Mr Johnson told MPs he was making changes to the way Downing Street and the Cabinet Office are run, so that we can get on with the job that I was elected to do and the job that this government was elected to do. In other words, throw people under the bus. First, it is time to sort out what Sue Gray rightly calls the fragmented and complicated leadership structures of Downing Street, which she says have not evolved sufficiently to meet the demands of the expansion of Number 10, and we will do that, including by creating an office of the Prime Minister with a permanent secretary to lead Number 10, he said. He finished his statement and said, I get it, I will fix it. I want to say to the people of this country, I know what the issue is. And then the whole of Parliament said, yes, it's you. Anyway, he goes on to say, it is whether this government can be trusted to deliver, and I say, yes, we can be trusted to deliver. Fucking idiot. Anyway, Labour leader Keir Starmer said the Prime Minister must keep his promise to publish Sue Gray's report in full when it is available, but it is already clear what the report disclosed is the most damning conclusion possible. And then Mr Johnson reacted to Keir Starmer by accusing him of failing to prosecute notorious sex offender Jimmy Savile while he was Director of Public Prosecutions, prompting Nazif Afzal, a former Chief Crown Prosecutor, to call the PM a disgrace, and quite rightly too. You know, this is what happens when you all your life acted like a naughty schoolboy who's had his hand in the cookie jar and cookie crumbs all over your shirt, and people say, Bodge, have you been eating them cookies again? Because that cookie jar's empty. Well, how dare you? Just because there's cookie crumbs all over my shirt doesn't mean I've eaten them. Huzzah! And then he thinks that's acceptable. What a fucking idiot. Anyway, didn't get much of an easy ride from his backbenchers, and as you can see, the PM was under increasing pressure to resign over the Partygate revelations following the report's release. Some of his backbenchers have already called for Mr Johnson to go, while a number of others have said they were waiting for the release of the Grey Report before deciding whether to send a letter to the 1922 committee of Tory MPs demanding a contest. A former Cabinet Minister and Vice Chair of the Conservative Party, Andrew Mitchell, told the Commons the PM no longer has his backing. Tory MP Tobias Elwood said, if Mr Johnson fails to publish the Sue Gray report in full, he too will no longer have his support. And former PM Theresa May said the report demonstrates that Number 10 was not observing the regulations that had imposed on members of the public. She said this means her successor had not read the rules or didn't understand what they meant, and others around them, or they didn't think the rules applied to Number 10. Labour Deputy Leader Angela Rayner said the findings of Sue Gray's pared-back report are sickening, and also said on Sky News that Mr Johnson has lost the confidence of the British public and should resign. A David Lib Dem leader called the Conservative MPs to do their patriotic duty, bit strong but, and get rid of Mr Johnson. He must go before he does our country any more harm, he said. Ian Blackford, he were brilliant, wasn't he? He wasn't going to back down, was it? The SNP Westminster leader said Mr Johnson's position was completely untenable, which I totally agree. The Prime Minister is guilty of breaking lockdown rules and misleading Parliament. He must resign or be removed from office, he said. Mr Blackford accused the PM of lying to the Commons, and which is not wrong, really. He did mislead Parliament, let's be honest here, for which he was ousted by the Speaker and was seen being escorted by the security. I thought he was brilliant. He wasn't going to back down, were I? No, I'm not going to. Brilliant. And why should I? It's just, I find it odd that a man who can just lie as easy as breathing be allowed to stay in Parliament and just continue lying. And that, I've got to admit, that bit about Jimmy Savile, I thought that was just, I think it's just a mark of what sort of a man he is. No level of insults is low enough. That was just low. And did you see our drunken Nadine Dorris trying to defend him afterwards? Just shows you what an embarrassment we are as a country. And you could see as I was watching it, and as these questions kept coming, and he just kept having to recite himself. Don't preempt, we'll just wait for the police report and all that stuff. And as you can, people kept asking, and they weren't going to go back away from it. And he was doing his bit to talk about Brexit, because I get the feeling they're trying to rope Keir Starmer into a battle about Brexit. That's my thought. And nobody, whether it was Green Party, Labour, or anybody else, were not going to have a bat of it. And you could see his spirit was ebbing away because it was not working. And you got all these MPs, sycophants coming up and saying, I can't believe that those on the opposite benches are talking about this. I have constituents talking about, worried about what's happening in Ukraine. I think, really? I'm not sure that there are that many of them. I think they're more interested in why is this man lying, and being allowed to lie and just being allowed to get away with it. But anyway, I shall leave the video here until the next time. That should be interesting on Wednesday, won't it? At PMQs. That's if he's there. unless he's still there, because he could still be in Ukraine, sat in a tank doing his Maggie Thatcher moment. Good God, we're so embarrassing. But anyway, I shall leave the video here. Until the next time, I shall bid you farewell and take care.